Please like this video. It will really help this story reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much for your support. She was at the sink, running water over a clean plate like it had offended her. I came up next to her, set down 2 tickets for a Saturday jazz set downtown, and said, "Let's go out this weekend. Just you and me." She flicked the plate dry, didn't look over. "I'm swamped. Also, can we not do this right now?" "Do what?" "This interview. I had a long day." She turned, brushed the tickets aside with her wrist like crumbs. "Move your truck from behind me. I'm late for yoga. That starts in 40 minutes. Her eyebrow twitched, that new little gesture that meant, "We're done here." Exactly. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have saved the jazz for someone who'd actually hear the music. I followed her to the garage, kept my voice steady. "Something's off, Megan. You're here, but you're not. You're different with me." She popped her gym bag into the back seat. "I'm the same. You're reading into everything." She slid into the driver's seat, shut the door, then cracked it again. "Pick up detergent. I used the last of it. And please don't buy the cheap kind." She drove off before I answered. That was new too. I stood there with the tickets in my hand, and the smell of eucalyptus from her car spray in my nose. The house was quiet. I didn't like quiet. Quiet let you lie to yourself. I poured coffee that had gone bitter and called Emily. Emily was Megan's best friend. Funny, sharp, the only person in Megan's circle I actually enjoyed talking to. We'd always gotten along because she had no patience for nonsense. She answered on the second ring. "That was fast," she said. "Either you need a tool I don't own or something's burning." "Neither." Megan's different. She dodges every talk. Cold, clipped, like I'm a client behind on an invoice. Emily went quiet a beat. I could hear a blender in the background. "And what are you doing about it?" "I tried planning something." She swatted it off the table. "Then stop planning like a man trying to get graded on effort," she said. "Initiative isn't flowers. It's new rules. Move first." Meaning, shorten your loop. Make decisions without waiting for her approval. Separate your time and money until she chooses to engage. If she wants connection, she'll show up. If she wants noise, she'll keep pushing. Either way, you're leading. I put the tickets in the drawer by the fridge. "That's what you do." "That's what I've done," Emily said, then softened a hair. "Don't grovel. Do." I thanked her and hung up with one clear thought. I would steer this, or I would step out. No middle. That night, I grilled chicken, opened a decent cab, set the table like adults live here. Megan walked in, scrolled her phone, and paused at the plates like I'd left tools scattered on a rug. "What's this?" "Dinner. Us." She glanced at the wine. "I'm not drinking. I have an early spin class." "Good. More for me." She set her phone down, barely sat. I cut meat. We passed salad. "You good?" I asked. "Fine." "That's not an answer." She stabbed lettuce. "I told you I'm fine. You're intense lately. Are you okay?" "I'm okay," I said. "We aren't." "That's your narrative." "And yours is what?" "That I need space," she said. "No interrogations. No agenda." I leaned back. "Noted. Here's mine. I'm lightening my schedule at home, heavying it with work and friends. Groceries and extras. I'll handle my share. You handle yours. Until we figure this out, we run parallel and spare each other the pretend." Her fork stalled. "Wow. Punish me with logistics. Romantic." "It's not punishment. It's clarity. You want space. You get it. You want us. Show me." She gave a little laugh that wasn't humor. "So now I'm on trial." "No. I'm avoiding another month of reading signals while you act like I'm a distant cousin." She pushed her chair back. "I'm not hungry." "Then don't be." I took my plate to the sink. She walked out with the same eucalyptus scent and the same silence. The next 3 nights, she came home later than 10, later than midnight, later than 2. When I asked where she'd been, she waved a hand like I was a street sign she'd already read. On the 4th night, she slipped in at 1, heels in her hand, hair smelling like some bar where the floor never quite dries. I was at the kitchen island with an open laptop. I closed it. "Where were you?" She set the heels down. "Out." "Out where?" "Do I need permission?" That tone again, bright on top, dull underneath. "No. You need to understand I won't live like your roommate plus ATM plus question mark." She opened the fridge, stared inside without reaching for anything. "I work. I pay bills. I go out. This is not a crime." "Then answer a simple where." Downtown. With friends. Who? You don't know them. Convenient. She shut the fridge. I'm not reporting in at midnight like a teenager. Then we'll stop pretending we're married while you audition being single, I said. Starting now, bedrooms are separate. Shared calendar is suspended. I'll be civil. I'll be useful. But I'm not offering warmth to a closed door. She stared at me like she hadn't expected words to bite. You're overreacting. I'm correcting. She walked past me to the hallway. I'm taking the main bedroom. I already moved my stuff, I said. Enjoy the bed you've been avoiding. She stopped, turned, almost smiled. So dramatic. No. So done. She disappeared. I washed my plate and set my alarm for early. I woke before dawn, hit the gym, got coffee with Nate, a friend from my shop, and went into work focused like a man who'd rather handle steel than fog. That morning, Megan sent a text at 10. Pick up dry cleaning. I ignored it. At noon she sent, did you pay the water? I paid my half and sent the receipt with your share is X. At first she wrote, you're being petty. I typed, I'm being precise. At 6, Emily called me, not text. How's the new policy? Orderly. Cold. Cold is better than begging, she said. Hold your line. If there's partnership left, it'll surface. I'm not holding a hostage, I said. I'm holding my spine. That too. That night, the first illusion arrived. Megan came home early, way earlier than the last few days, carrying takeout from the Thai place we used to like. She set it down and opened boxes. I got your favorite, she said. Extra basil. I watched her arrange plates. No lecture, no defense. What's the occasion? Can I bring dinner? She poured water into 2 glasses. I know I've been off. Work's been a lot. Work didn't make you allergic to answers, I said, but softer. Thank you for dinner. We ate. She asked about my day. I told her about a temperamental compressor at the shop and a customer who changed his mind 3 times. She actually listened. She touched my hand once. Light, tentative. Maybe we could go hiking Sunday, she said. Just us. Maybe. She tilted her head. Maybe. I'm booked Sunday morning. I can do the afternoon. Her mouth tightened, then relaxed. Okay. After dinner, she took her plate to the sink and left the kitchen without that little huff she'd perfected. I stood there considering if we'd hit a reset. Then at 11, while I was reading on the couch, she walked past in a new dress I'd never seen, slipped on perfume, and grabbed her keys. Thought we were recalibrating, I said. We are, she said, smiling like I was slow. I'm meeting Jenna for 1 drink. It's 11 p.m. 1 drink can be at 11 p.m. And she was gone. I texted Emily. First she brings dinner. Now she's out again. Emily wrote back. That's not a reset. That's a patch. Keep steering. The next day, I made a move on foreign ground. At lunch, in front of my team, I canceled the couple's dinner we'd planned with another shop owner. I called Mark on speaker. Hey man, he said. Still good for Friday? Laura bought a mountain of snacks. Not this time, I said. We're pausing joint stuff for a bit. You two okay? We're recalibrating. Don't buy the snacks next time until I confirm. A couple of guys at the table glanced up. Nate raised his eyebrows. After the call, he said, public line in the sand. Respect. It's not for drama. It's so I stop pretending. Sometimes the only way to fix a fog is to turn on the stadium lights, Nate said. That night Megan came home at 2. The next night, 3. The next, 4. I stopped waiting up. I slept fine, got up early, doubled down on work, ran the shop like a machine. I added my name back on 2 basketball nights with friends. I took my old Ford out on a long drive with the windows down. I stopped talking to a wall at home and started having conversations with people who answered. And I started talking to Emily without the project management tone. She was funny even when we weren't discussing my house. One afternoon we met for coffee because she'd been in the neighborhood. She wore sneakers and a denim jacket and told me a story about locking herself out with a smoothie in her hand and dignifying it by finishing the smoothie on the porch. See, she said, I contain chaos, just in kindly portions. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still listening, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps YouTube show this story to more people. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the story. You chose to finish the smoothie. That's leadership. She laughed. Don't make me your leadership coach. I'm just human with keys. We talked for an hour. She didn't ask for updates. I didn't offer them. When we parted, she touched my elbow, not my hand. Friendly. Nothing else. Good. On a Thursday, after Megan blew off 2 nights in a row and came back at 4, I decided I was done waiting on hints. I hired a private investigator. No drama, no speech. I looked up a licensed guy with a small office near the courthouse who had reviews that sounded like adults wrote them. We met at my shop, behind the service counter, while Nate and Andre handled customers out front. I need to know where she goes and with whom, I said. No speculation. Time-stamped proof. He nodded like he'd heard this 1,000 times, but would treat it like one. You'll have something by tomorrow. He was right. The next night, he texted at 11:38. Check email. I opened a folder of photos. Megan at a club I recognized by the brick pillars and blue neon. Dancing. Laughing. Not with Jenna. Not with anyone I knew. They left together at 1:12. There were 3 shots out front and one a block away where they were closer than the sidewalk required. The last photo was of them getting into a car. The timestamp clicked 1:21. She came home at 4:07. I remembered the sound of the garage door and the shuffle of those heels in her hand. I stared at the screen until my eyes ached. No shouting. No throwing. Just math. Then I called a lawyer I'd used years back for a business contract, a guy who talked in verbs, not adjectives. We met the next morning. He scanned the photos, asked a few questions, and said, "We can move quickly. Don't discuss anything with her. Don't tip your hand. If you want out, I'll have documents in a few days." I signed. I wired his fee. I walked out into the noon sun like a man stepping out of a warehouse. The world was loud, and I was awake. At home, I scrubbed our calendar. I moved my clothes completely out, not a sock left behind. I put my checking account on a new card. I set up a separate utilities payment so my half clicked no matter what. I removed myself from her streaming passwords and wiped mine from her devices. I took my grandfather's watch from the top drawer and put it in my safe. Logistics aren't romantic. They are relief. I didn't tell her. She came and went. She tested new corners of the clock like the sun was her wristwatch. And I didn't take the bait. The house turned into a hotel with 2 guests who didn't speak. The second illusion came that weekend. Saturday morning, she made pancakes. The house smelled like Sunday from 2 years back. She was in a t-shirt, no mascara, hair up, humming like the old version had walked in the door. "I was rough this week," she said. "I know it. I'm sorry." She slid a plate toward me. "Let's reset. Today." I cut a bite and ate like a person in control of a fork. "Today I'm taking the truck up to Chatfield with the guys. Fishing and lying. Tomorrow I'm finishing a break job and catching the game. Monday I'm booked. Tuesday I can do 30 minutes. Walk around the block." She laughed, not happy. "A walk. That's what I have. You're punishing me with a step counter. I'm inviting you for 30 minutes to talk like adults. If you want more than that, you show me over time. Not pancakes." She set the spatula down. "You've become very rigid." "I've become very clear." She dropped the smile, then put it back on like a jacket. "Fine. Tuesday." We did not take a walk Tuesday. She texted at 6, running late. At 9, "Don't wait up." That night I stood in the garage, looked at the lawn chairs and the cooler and the things I had bought for 2 people to use, and realized I had been donating my life to a story that only I was reading. I kept moving. Work, friends, gym, sleep. 2 weeks like that. During those 2 weeks, Emily and I saw each other more. Not planned. It just kept happening. We ran into each other at the farmer's market. We compared tomatoes. We sat on a bench and made fun of the samples guy who had the personality of a traffic cone. She told me about a design client who changed her mind every hour and how she solved it with a template that forced decisions. I told her about a customer who blamed the engine for what his foot had done. We laughed in a way you only laugh when you're not posturing. She never once asked, "Any news?" She just showed up as a normal human adult. Midweek, my lawyer emailed, "Documents ready." He asked me to pop by his office. I signed the final pages. He tapped one stack. "Give these to her at home. Don't posture. Don't threaten. Just present. And remember, say nothing you don't want quoted in a later conversation. Anything else? Lock down your accounts now. And don't tell her you know anything until you're ready to hand this over. After, if you're done, be done. No half measures. Done is my specialty." He smiled at that. "It's rare." I left with a manila folder in my bag and a very simple plan. Go home. Hand it over. Be decent and firm. Finish the story on my page, not hers. When I walked in, voices came from the kitchen. Megan and Emily. I paused in the hallway because the first thing I heard wasn't a greeting, it was a complaint. I'm so tired of him, Megan said, with that flat whine people get when they think the world owes them a refund. I miss my fun life. I hate being evaluated at home. I want freedom. I want my own thing back. Emily's answer was steady, not flustered. Then stop living in the middle, Meg. End it. Some of us wish we had a man who sets boundaries and pays attention. Please, Megan said. Boundaries? He's controlling. You keep using that word, Emily said. You mean consistent. I stepped into the doorway. Emily saw me and stood. She hugged me like an old friend, one arm, warm but not complicated. Megan didn't turn. I caught the last few sentences I said. Megan's shoulders went tight. She finally glanced over. So what? I set the folder on the counter and opened it. Papers, neat, no drama. I slid them to her. You said you wanted your old life? I said. Here's the exit. Pack your things. Go live it. Emily didn't speak. She just watched both of us like a referee who knows the decision's already been made. Megan touched the papers with a kind of jerky caution, like they might be hot. She read. The color drained a shade. Then she saw the photos I'd included, the ones from the club, the timestamps, the car. She looked up at me, then back down, then back up. Are you serious? She said, voice thin. Over how I spend my free time. No, I said, calm enough to hear the humming of the fridge. If you'd ended your night at the club, we'd just be rearranging furniture. You didn't. You don't know what happened after, she said, fast now, hands moving like she could fan the air into a different story. You don't know anything. You're inventing. I cut in. I'm not inventing. And no more debates. It's done. You wanted freedom. Go meet it. She laughed once, a sound like a glass tapped too hard. This is a performance. It's paperwork. Emily looked from her to me and back. What about my dream? She said to me, half light, half challenge. I turned to her and smiled for the first time that day. How about dinner tonight? She lit up like the room had a switch. Then I should go get ready. She squeezed my arm, grabbed her purse, and left without looking at Megan. When the door shut, Megan finally found volume. You're unbelievable. You'll throw away years because I went out. You threw them when you made home a hotel and me a doorman, I said. I'm just moving the luggage. She shook her head, tried a new tack. You'll regret this. We'll both regret it. You're making a mistake in anger. If I were angry, I'd shout. I'm done. That's quieter. She leaned on the counter, went for the last tool, drama as glue. So you're seeing my friend now? That's low. I shrugged. I'm taking a woman to dinner who respects me. That's called a plan. What you call it is your business. Now pack. She stared me down another beat, then grabbed the folder again as if reading it would change the words. It didn't. She walked to the bedroom, head high like she was in a movie. The door slammed because doors don't negotiate. I moved through the house and did what adults do when a chapter ends. I went online and removed her access to my accounts. Utilities split, personal autopay set to my card, joint savings moved to my separate one as we'd agreed long ago in case of emergency. I scheduled a locksmith for that afternoon. I blocked her number and left an email address for logistics only. I put the ring dish into the drawer. I took a shower and shaved like a person going somewhere promised. Dinner with Emily was what I didn't know I needed. We picked a place with a patio where the chairs scraped the concrete, and the waiter had a good memory and worse handwriting. We talked about anything except the house. She told me about a road trip she once took to New Mexico, where she found the best pie of her life in a gas station. I said the best burger I ever ate was when our truck broke down and the only diner open had one cook and one grill and a sign that said no substitutions. We laughed over soft drinks and shared a plate like we'd done it for years. Nothing heavy, just two people respecting the air around them. After, we sat in a park and watched a pickup game under bad lights. She hugged her knees. I rested back on my hands. The sky did what skies do in summer. When I drove her home, she sat with her hand on the door handle and looked at me like there were two roads in front of us, and she was trying to see which one I'd take. All good? I asked. Perfect, she said. Then, quiet. But if this was a stunt to upset Megan, tell me now. Don't feed me false hope. I laughed. Not a big laugh. A real one. That was my best day in months. You're not a prop. If this becomes something, it'll be because we choose it. Not because of her. She exhaled a breath that looked like she'd been holding it since the kitchen. She hugged me, whispered, "I've wanted to hear that for a long time," kissed my cheek, and went up the steps with a skip that had nothing to do with me and everything to do with relief. We saw each other every day after that. Coffee once. A grocery run where she made fun of my love for pickles. A hardware store where she pointed out fixtures she hated and I pretended to defend them. We kept it simple. No title, just forward. Megan tried the usual postscript. Emily told me on day 3 that her phone buzzed nonstop with messages. "She thinks I stole you," Emily said, eyebrows up. "She lost me," I said. "Block her." "I planned to," Emily said, and did it while I watched. A week later, after closing the shop early to fix a faulty lift, I walked outside and saw Megan leaning against her car by the curb. She wore that calm that comes after you've drafted 10 speeches. I paused 10 feet away. "Talk," she said. "No, but you can speak. I'll listen for 30 seconds. She stepped forward. "I miss you." I overreacted. I was under pressure. I don't know what I wanted. It's not the point. Emily manipulated this. I shook my head. "Stop giving away your choices. You wanted freedom. Now you have it. Don't circle me while you get used to the wind. You're cruel." "No, I'm clean. There's a difference." I nodded toward the street. "Don't contact Emily again. She didn't take anything. You handed it to the ground and walked away." "This isn't you," she said. "It is," I said. "You just forgot." I walked back inside without a look over my shoulder because we were done and staring at the past makes bad statues. She didn't show up again. The papers moved as fast as the lawyer said they would. Logistics turned into facts. The locksmith came. The keys changed hands. The house exhaled. I started sleeping like a person who knew where his tools were. 2 weeks after the kitchen, I stood in my driveway while Emily carried a box with her favorite mugs to my front door. "You sure?" I asked, not because I doubted her, but because adults ask each other the right question at the right time. She set the box down, looked up, and grinned. "I'm sure." We moved her in slow, no ceremony, no friends with cameras. She took the guest room because she wanted to do this carefully. She hung one print in the hallway and set a plant on the windowsill that wasn't needy and didn't lean toward the light like it had a complaint. We cooked on Tuesdays, ate out on Fridays, and left each other alone when one of us had a day that required quiet and a couch. Work got better. I caught a big fleet contract because I had room in my head for new numbers. I stopped staying late to avoid coming home. I started leaving early to get home because home had a person who didn't make peace expensive. We'd be at the bar on a Saturday, watching a game, and Nate would nudge me. "You look 10 years younger," he'd say. "I feel 10 years more honest," I'd answer. We took short drives. We replaced a light fixture in the hallway without arguing about bulbs. We went to that jazz set I'd held onto because I'm not in the business of wasting good music. She tapped her foot and leaned over with a small smile. "I see why you wanted this," she said. "Me too." Every now and then I'd hear from a mutual friend. Megan moved into a small apartment close to the nightlife she liked, then moved again when the noise wasn't what she thought noise would be. She bounced between plans and people. I didn't track it. I just hoped she figured out what Everidge had made home feel like a trap. I wished her no harm, just distance. One afternoon, months later, Emily was in the kitchen, flipping through a recipe book and humming off key on purpose. I came up behind her, set my hands on the counter, and said, "When you told me to lead, I thought you meant into a wall." "I did," she said, smiling. "So you could see it and stop walking into it." I stopped, I said. "You did." We ate on the back steps because the table needed fixing and neither of us cared about optics. The sun lowered behind the neighbor's cedar. The quiet wasn't heavy anymore. It was good. It was earned. People think the satisfying part is slamming a door. It's not. It's closing it gently and hearing it click. It's the walk away. It's getting in your truck and not checking your mirror. It's a text from someone who respects your time. It's paying a bill and knowing no one's rifling your pocket. It's a house that smells like dinner and not like you're being graded. Megan wanted the old single life she'd mythologized. She can have it. I wanted respect. So I built it. With better bricks. With someone who answers questions with answers. Emily once said I plan like a contractor and love like a firefighter. Show up fast, do the job, and stop the smoke from spreading. I told her that's the nicest, strangest compliment I've ever received. We're good. The shop's busy. The truck starts on the first turn. My phone lights up with name, not drama. When I leave work, I go home without inventing errands. I put the key in the lock, step in, and there's Emily, in my old sweatshirt, asking if I want tacos or if we should be irresponsible and get pancakes for dinner. Pancakes, I say, with extra basil. She laughs, throws me a dish towel, and calls me impossible. And I am, for the right things. For respect. For calm. For a life where my kindness isn't a weakness and my silence isn't a cage. For a house where the only late nights are the ones we choose together. And for the record, pancakes at 6 with someone who shows up beat pancakes at midnight with a ghost. Every time. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.